I'm happy to make this presentation, and I will try to make a summary of how really happens this online education in our days here in the United States, and as I mentioned before, all over the world. The distance education, which is part of this modern system of online education, started as a studies by correspondence in 1890, and today it's being also used by many colleges and universities. Then they changed to another name. It's called Open University. It started in 1969, and still, as I said, being used there. Now we have the participation of radio, video diffusion, and teleconference, which is the modern, which started in 1960, and finally we have the use of multimedia and web system, which started in 1980 to the present day. When we talk about general principle of online education, in other words, the modern system, we have to mention that there are central definitions for distance education in a modern way. We say that distance education is called now online education. The reason is that there is no frontier, there is no limitation, even for this communication system through the internet, and I think that's the important thing about this online education. Then we have the condition of distance education in our day that brings the changes that is required in the educational of our days. What is the expectations? What's the goals of online education? Actually, there are wide range of activities in online education, and it includes schools by correspondence, open universities, schools and universities, consortia of teleconferences. They are being used right now for many television stations all over the world, and corporations, and something that's very important is the military institution of defense. At the same time, we have to mention that it's very, very important to know that there are 5 consortia of online education. I'm just showing here the California Virtual Campus, where it has the website. Any one of you can visit, www.cv.edu. At the same time, we have the National Technology University. It shows also its website. We also have the Satellite Educational Research Consortium and Western Governor University, and finally American Distance Education Consortia, which really are located in the United States. But it doesn't mean that it's going to be used just here. It's being used also in connection with many universities in Europe, England, France, Germany, and few of them with South America. How do we use the technology and media? In online education, there are different forms of technology and communications, multimedia used in this system of online education. And something important to mention is that it requires the media selections and integration in the educational media communication. What does it really mean? It means that the students, when they go to colleges, the traditional, they really use many ways of education. Every person, every human has different ways of learning, studying, and as far as I know, there are 4 groups that really join them in this condition of education. At the same time, technology, very important in the United States of America, all around the world. And as we know, the new sciences of technology and electronic systems offer different way of learning to the human being. How to make design of online courses and development? I'd like to mention that finishing this part, out of 10, will show how to go into the virtual classroom that's organized in the International Institute of Offline Education, here, located here in the United States. The design actually involves the instructional system development, which is being used right now, as I mentioned before, by the United Nations and particularly the UNICEF. This includes many groups of professionals that create a development system for education. I should mention administrators, electronic engineering, website designers, secretaries that knows how to go and get involved here in online courses. All of that groups really mean design of courses online. All of them also needs to make the preparation of audio conferences and teleconferences for this online education. At the same time, the online education includes the distribution in advance and with enough time to the execution of the conference or classes, the pertinent study materials. When I mentioned that, traditionally they used to send by regular mail books, sometimes they send now CDs, or they organize everything through the television stations in the routine way. Now that we have that, I'd like to mention something about the demonstration and tutorials of this way of educating. And just to mention that organizing online courses requires much more time of preparation than the traditional teaching system in the classroom. I used to be a teacher also with my blackboard and the regular way of making the classes. And sometimes the teacher just talks in the classroom and sometimes makes questions to the students. But unfortunately, there was no interaction between students. In the online education, students are allowed to do that kind of forming groups. And so I'm going to show you in a few minutes how to organize the classroom. At the same time, the online course needs that the professor has to pay very serious attention to the motivation of the student. Not all of them take courses in order to have the same destinations, I mean, professionally they want to do many different things. That's important for the professor. He has to be very careful paying attention to the motivation of the student. Also something important, how effective is the distance educator in closely bound to his domain and professional experience. It's very important, in this case, using the multimedia technology. In the online course also, there are various types of interaction possibility in the learning context of distance education. What I mean with this is that the activity of the professor with the students is not just through the website. It's also using the chat room, for instance. That's what I do many times. Or sometimes using the telephone to call to the student, or the student call to the teacher. Or sometimes they send them, modern DVDs of classes. They organize comments, as we're going to show later in this part of the